This is Future Fork, a show that explores the world of food and the decisions we can make today that will shape our future. On the show, you'll hear from innovators in the food space. We'll have disruptive conversations with people from around the globe who are taking the lead on topics like food sustainability, ending world hunger, food security, and so much more. I'm your host, Paul Newnham. In this episode, we're talking to Kimberly Chamberland. Kimberly is the founder of Big Mountain Foods, a company that specializes in creating plant-based, allergen-free food products. In today's conversation, we'll dive into Kimberly's journey from founding Big Mountain Foods to expanding into the international markets. You'll hear Kimberly explain the philosophy behind their plant-based products, her personal story as a lifelong vegetarian, and the company's innovative use of fava beans to create soy-free tofu. Let's get into it. Welcome to the show.
Thank you for having me.
Do you want to give us a little bit of an intro just for people to help understand the role you're playing at Big Mountain Foods and what is Big Mountain Foods?
Well, I'm Kimberly Chamberland, and I'm the founder of Big Mountain Foods. We founded it back in 1987. It's a long history in our family of vegetarianism. And we focus on clean label, plant-based products with ingredients you can pronounce unless your mouth is full.
Amazing. So you started this some time back. What's the company's kind of frame and focus? So it's these plant-based foods, but tell us a little bit more about the philosophy behind the company.
So for me, it was a way of life. I was raised a very strict vegetarian, so it came naturally to found this company. And basically, our focus is, to do good for the world and be sustainable and good, healthy, meaningful ingredients that make you feel good when you eat it. But what we really specialize in is products that are allergen-free. I have two daughters. One is lactose intolerant, one is celiac. And we noticed that there was a white space in the market for that. There really was not much at all for plant-based products that did not have soy or gluten. And the rest is history. And we really focus on making plant-based products with beans. So we're using fava beans for our soy-free tofu, first of its kind in the world, 64 grams of protein. And we actually find it quite easy to use ingredients that are not over-processed, that come from the earth, true plant-based products. So we're very vegetable forward, legume forward. Most importantly, it tastes good and it makes you feel good.
Absolutely. And we've just eaten a little bit and it's been delicious. So help me understand. So tofu is traditionally made from soy. You've got the first fava bean tofu. What is tofu? Help people, people know what tofu is, but is tofu tied to the ingredient, or is it tied to the process, or is it something else?
So tofu is thousands of years old. Essentially what it is, it's soy, and you make a milk from the soy, and then you coagulate it, press it, cut it, and enjoy it. So we haven't veered away from the traditional tofu making process. It's just that we're using fava bean, which is far more regenerative, more protein, and it's allergen-free. So for the people that cannot have soy, that's one of the things Big Mountain Foods focuses on, is creating an option for all.
And we're in Canada. So this started in Canada, the company. And so tell us a little bit about how the company's kind of grown. So you developed this new first of its kind. And where are we at in the journey now?
We bought the company back in 1987, and where it is today is completely different from where it started. We were making tofu sandwiches, carob brownies, that sort of thing, delivering to different universities and trendy little coffee shops. And then about 10 years ago, my daughter graduated from university, and plant-based was really being put on the map. And we decided we were going to make a go of it. So in the last 10 years, we've really, really expanded. So we're 97% penetration in the Canadian market, both mainstream and natural. And now we've entered the US market and we're in over 10,000 retailers. And we plan on hitting the UK market, the Australian market, the Mexican market. So the world is our oyster. We're now in a 70,000 square foot facility with a ton of capacity. So it's very exciting times for Big Mountain Foods.
So in terms of taking that scale, fava, and you mentioned protein, fava has a lot more protein, and you mentioned regenerative farming. Tell us a little bit about how you managed to kind of discover fava as a replacement to soy.
Well, this is something. We actually created the tofu with chickpea. And with global warming and everything that's going on, the real issues, we developed it right when there was a world drought and we could not find chickpeas. It didn't matter. All the chickpeas from Canada were being shipped off to India. The farmers were just going where they got the highest dollar. So we were panicking because we were ready for market. We actually won a Nexty Award at the Natural Food Expo. And dealing with Pulse Canada, we were sort of panicking. They asked us to try making it with fava. Lo and behold, we got better yields, better color, and more protein.
And so the rest is history, I guess.
And the rest is history. And it's an interesting story because we're a woman-owned mother-daughter team. And the farmer that we're buying the fava beans, she's also a young lady and a family business, generations of farming of legumes in Manitoba. It's called Prairie Fava. So it's a really cool story.
Absolutely. So in running this business and being a founder, tell us a little bit about some of the things that have been challenging in terms of, from your perspective, in really taking this kind of new product out to market. And what are some of the things that have really stood out to you as big mountains, I guess, to get over?
Well, the first thing was our supply chain with the chickpeas. Now we've solved that issue. Every day is another issue. I would say that just going to market, period, COVID was a huge challenge for Big Mountain. We developed the tofu, started getting some good momentum pre-COVID, and then 2 years we were sort of handcuffed. We couldn't get the meetings, and we secured the 70,000 square foot facility. We've come through all that. And now the challenges would be just getting the word out there and understanding how much capital you need to go to market, the trade spend, the free fills, the demos, the logistics, and very small margins for the farmer and the manufacturer.
And in terms of the innovation that you've had to bring into the way, I know that you're using lots of other ingredients alongside the tofu and the fava tofu. What are some of the other kind of connections that you've made around the pairings, I guess, that you've been looking at in the product range?
Big Mountain Foods has a real tendency to be fashion forward with our ingredients. We seem to be on point. Maybe it has to do with my mother and all the good advice she gives us. She's a naturopathic doctor. So, for example, our lion mane mushroom crumble. Lion mane mushroom is very hot right now. It's been proven it's many, many benefits medically. And then the tofu with the protein. And so we try to pair with ingredients that actually have meaning, and we try to source locally as much as possible.
And so bringing those together, it kind of creates that kind of unique synergy and offering. And from obviously using the fava, you're getting a much better climate impact. What's the health side? So you were talking about the protein. What's the other kind of breakdown in the comparison?
I think that that's what we are selling is the protein, and that it's allergen-free. And you can sleep at night knowing that you're actually making a difference because it's the most regenerative legume in the legume family. There's only 3 ingredients in it.
Yeah.
So
it's hard to say too much on that.
Yeah.
So it's essentially fava and
water
and
the coagulant.
Yeah, very simple. So in terms of taking forward, what would you say for other founders that are thinking about working in this space? Would you give any advice, having kind of successfully launched, gone out, now got into the US? What sort of things would you look back now and say, I wish I'd known about that?
Be patient. This has been a long journey, and every day I count my blessings that the doors are open. Trust me, we're not successful. We're successful within ourselves that we know that we're doing our little piece to provide allergen-free plant-based products for the world. So, yes, we're successful that way. But if you want to count the financial side of things, it's very tough, very tough. If you think you need $10 to make a go of it, you probably need 40.
Yeah, so it's getting that investment and that support. Working in a family business, so you said your daughter's working for you. How do you find that environment working from a family side? Is that been a good thing? Has that been something that's...
I find myself to be very, very privileged. My daughter and I, Jasmine, we work together. She bought a house next to my house. Her and her husband bought a boat. It's at the same marina. We actually really enjoy each other's company, and we have a little thing between us that keep the respect. And as long as we respect one another, it's a beautiful, beautiful environment. Not all mothers and daughters can work together.
Yeah. No, I mean, you hear a lot about different family businesses. And so it's how you kind of keeping that respect is a good starting point. You also love to cook. And so I know we've just eaten some amazing food. Tell us a little bit about cooking and the role that plays. You know, you're the founder, you're the boss here, but you're also cooking for the whole team. Tell us a little bit about where did that come from and how do you bring that into your role?
It's a stress reliever. It's a form of art for me. If I could play the guitar, I probably would, but I know how to cook, and it brings me great pleasure taking all these fabulous local ingredients and creating something. And the smile, and my staff here, they work so hard down there. And when I take an hour of my time that is actually stress relieving and bring them a lunch on a Friday, it goes a million miles. We have people that have been with us for 10 years and more. So it's giving back. And that's the way to win people's hearts, through their tummy.
Yeah, no, absolutely. I mean, we all connect around food, and food is something that is deeply personal, I think. And, you know, it's something that it's a way we show love. It's the way we connect. And so food is key. What's something that you're loving eating at the moment? Is there anything that, apart from obviously your own products, but what's something else that you're enjoying eating at the moment? An ingredient or a dish or...
I'm really enjoying these cabbage rolls. I could eat them every day.
Yeah.
I come from a Czechoslovakian grandmother who made cabbage rolls with veal, pork, and beef. And it just really was never my thing. And I started messing around with making these cabbage rolls with our smoked tofu and the line made mushroom crumble. And they're heaven on earth. I could eat this. It's a perfect meal.
So tell us about what else goes in that.
So it literally, you take the cabbage, you steam it, you put the cauli crumble, mushroom crumble, and shred some smoked tofu, roll it up, put it in a pan with onion and fresh dill, and then you take some vegetable stock and tomato, submerge them in the cabbage, and voila, bake it and enjoy. It's a perfect meal. So you have your fiber, your vegetables, your protein.
Amazing. So you mentioned what's next for Big Mountain Foods is really expanding now. You've got the setup to scale. You've got the product range there. You've launched into the US as well as Canada, and it's growing really fast. Going into the UK, other markets, Australia, what are you looking for in terms of partners and connectors to help you get into that space?
Capital.
Yeah.
We're still 100% family owned, and I think we're ready. We understand that we can't do it all. And so looking for a partner where our mission is in line and they're passionate about what we're doing, I think could be a beautiful thing.
Yeah.
A partner that could bring value, just like my daughter and I working together. You know, she went to university. She's got the degree in business. I went to the hard school of Knox. So together we complement one another, and it's a beautiful partnership. So bringing somebody in that would align with what Big Mountain's all about, I think could be a beautiful partnership.
Yeah. No, I'm sure there's probably people listening that very aligned to the cause. And so you never know. There might be an opportunity out there in terms of next steps.
We welcome it.
Absolutely. So if people are in North America, US or Canada, they can get this at how available is the products?
We're in over 10,000 retailers at the moment, everywhere from Sprouts, Whole Foods, Publix, Wegmans, Albertsons. So you can see it's a whole array of banners that support Big Mountain Foods. Another thing we're getting into in the immediate future is food service. So we're doing a lot of work with the hospitals, Fraser Health and Coastal Health. We're doing a lot of work with the universities. So the University of UBC, the University of British Columbia, and SFU. So this is very exciting.
What sort of examples of those kinds of collaborations?
So the hospitals, Fraser Health and Coastal Health, have replaced their typical meatball with Big Mountain Foods line main mushroom ball that is made with our soy-free tofu and line main mushrooms, and put it on their menu. And they've been doing a study since July 23. And to date, and we're now in March 24, and they recognized that 28% more meals were being consumed with these vegan meatballs, which means 28% less waste. And it's locally sourced, so it's more sustainable. And they're not even using the approach that it's vegan necessarily. They're just offering, this is what you're getting, and people are loving it. So it makes us feel good that in the healthcare, where people are there to be healing, are getting food that's going to heal them.
No, I mean, that's so critical. And I think finding those ways to do that is really critical. And then I think you were mentioning even on the dessert side, you had a tofu-based dessert that you were getting in there as well, which we tasted and it was delicious.
Yes, so it's pure protein. It's just the silken soy-free tofu, some maple syrup, and whatever flavor. We had red orange and lemon, and it was absolutely wonderful. So the hospitals want to replace Big Mountain or their pudding that's made from a mix with our tofu pudding, and they're actually adding synthetic protein to their pudding, and this is coming
Already with the protein.
3-4 ingredients, and it's good for you.
Yeah. No, and that's important at a hospital level. So I think that's great. And I mean, I also think as you're having a treat, I guess, something a bit sweeter, it's always good to also know that it's full of good things and not a huge amount of things you don't know as well.
Exactly.
So it's kind of like a bean-based dessert, which is something right up my alley.
I'm so excited to work with beans. I mean, back in 87, we made veggie burgers. It was strictly soak the lentils, soak the peas, grind them, make your burger, put some binder in there. I don't know how we got so off track, but beans are a miracle food.
Yeah. No, absolutely. We're coming to the end, but what would you say, having worked so much with tofu, what's your favorite recipe using tofu? Apart from that, you've told us about the cabbage rolls, but what's the favorite use? Because I know a lot of people, they're frying tofu, they're crumbling it, they're doing different things.
This tofu is only 6 months old, so every day I'm working with it, and I haven't gotten bored. So we're putting the tofu in our sausages. We're putting the tofu in our burgers. Now I think the big exciting thing for me is making desserts with it.
Yeah.
So I made a tofu cheesecake off the hook. It was just incredible. And then the tofu. So I feel like people want to eat the sweets, and it catches them off guard that you can actually make tofu taste that good. And it's dairy-free, vegan. Even if you're not a vegan, it's vegan. It tastes good.
Sometimes it's our imagination holds us back. And like we think of a product and we think it's just like that. I don't like that. And then you taste it and people are like, oh. And that really helps change their idea of what to expect.
All of Fraser Health here, and there was, I think, 12 of them. And we made egg salad with our tofu.
Oh, wow.
And on croissants. And then we made a butternut squash soup with smoked tofu croutons. Instead of using cream, we used the silken tofu. And these were all meat eating. I'm not calling meat eating down, but I'm just saying people who not typically eat tofu. And the whole meal was based around fava bean tofu. Now they want the pudding. Now they want the egg salad. And these aren't even products that we have on the market. But everything we seem to be sampling with our recipes using our tofu or other products, food service is wanting to list them now.
That's great. And I mean, it's a good way. I mean, we're working on getting more people to eat beans, and this is a great way of getting beans out in a completely different form, in a completely different way to people. And I think that's great.
Yep. It's not just barbecue.
Absolutely. No, it's good. Thank you for being on the show.
Thank you for having me. It was wonderful spending the morning with you.
Thanks so much.
Cheers.
You've been listening to Future Fork, a show that explores the world of food and the decisions we can make today that will shape our future. Future Fork is produced by Disruptive Consulting Solutions and supports the SDG2 Advocacy Hub. For more info, head to the website futureforkpodcast.com. This show was produced with strategy and production support from Wavelength Creative. So you don't miss an episode of Future Fork, make sure to subscribe to or follow the show in your podcast app. And while you're there, leave us a 5-star review. It really helps others find the show. I'm Paul Newnham, and I'll see you in the next episode.